प्रारब्ध के सभी दर्शकों को मेरा नमस्कार. My name is Sandeep Singh, and today we have a very amazing and famous author, Sandeep Balakrishna ji. Sandeep sir, आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत. Most welcome on this channel.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. Good to be here.
For our viewers, जो संदीप जी को पहली बार देख रहे हो, बहुत ही कमाल के लेखक हैं. इनकी 7 से ज्यादा किताबें प्रकाशित हो चुकी हैं, जिसमें इन एक इन्वेडर्स एंड इन्फिडल्स करके बहुत प्रसिद्ध बुक है, और साथ में एस.एल. भैरप्पा जी की जो एक किताब है आवरण, सर ने उसका ट्रांसलेशन भी इंग्लिश में किया. वो किताब मतलब इट इज अ मस्ट रीड, और आप एक बार सर का नाम सर्च करेंगे तो यू विल गेट अ लॉट ऑफ मतलब इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट हिम. ऑल्सो कम्युनिस्ट्स पर, और सर के वीडियोस भी बहुत है कमाल के, जिसमें कम्युनिस्ट पर, इंडिया की हिस्ट्री पर, द वे ही हैज इन्होंने जो पर्सपेक्टिव दिया है, अमेजिंग अमेजिंग, मतलब बहुत ही बढ़िया है. एंड सर, आई हैव बीन हियरिंग यू फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम, सिंस 2017, मे बी 2016, 2017 से आई स्टार्टेड एक्सप्लोरिंग पॉन्डी लिट फेस्ट. उसके बाद से तो kept on following you, so it's an honor for me to be having a conversation with you. And तो सर, संदीप सर, चूंकि ये महीना श्री राम जी का है, this month belongs to Sri Ram, 22nd January, and the प्राण प्रतिष्ठा ceremony is happening just next to Lucknow, that is in Sri Ayodhya ji. And आप हैं बेंगलोर में, so how are you feeling there, and what is the environment there? What do you feel about it, sir?
सबसे पहले thank you very much for the generous introduction. I'm happy to be here at your platform, Praarabdh. So, I mean, it's a very difficult question you have asked me. How you're feeling? First of all, I'm feeling jealous because you're so close to Sri Ram ji. You're right in the middle of the action, so to say. So yes, I am definitely jealous, but I see this as the fulfillment of the tapasya of 500 years, which was the title of a very long essay I had written about 10 years back. मिल जाएगा आपको वो essay धर्मा dispatch पे.
Yes, and
it is nearly
I was coming to Dharma Dispatch, sir. जी.
It is nearly 500 years. When will Sri Ramchandra return to his home in Ayodhya? तो 10 साल पहले लिखा था. So I think it is a fulfillment of the tapasya, not only tapasya, but the sheer amount of sacrifices that, how many generations is 500 years, sir? Tell me. आप मान लीजिए
25 years, 4 into 5.
20 years is one generation. So 500 divided by 20. So इतनी पीढ़ियों का तपस्या और बलिदान, उसका एक फल अभी हम देख रहे हैं. So उनका प्राण प्रतिष्ठा is the fruit of all that penance. So I mean, how do you express this feeling in mere words? It's impossible. एक तो हम अंजलि मुद्रा दे के हम नमस्ते कर सकते. Beyond that, any amount of writing that you do on that, it will fall short of what, expressing our real feeling. This is a feeling of the global community of Hindus. It is not related, restricted only to Ayodhya or Uttar Pradesh or Delhi or Mathura or, some parts. You tell me, sir, when the Ram Janmabhoomi movement started, why did it attract, that kind of devotion from Kashmir to Kanyakumari? Why did people quit their jobs? I know of several people who quit their flourishing careers from, Europe and US just to be part of the movement. So
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of stories of car sevaks here in UP,
I personally have so many of my, friends and my extended family who have done this. Very senior people. I know of one gentleman who was a car sevak. He was 81 years ago when the Ram Janmabhoomi movement began. 81 years old. Okay. He took his cycle and he would go from temple to temple, house to house throughout north of Bangalore. just to give the message कि आज नहीं तो कल भगवान राम जी आएंगे अयोध्या में. He was 81 years old. What prompted these people to do this? What prompted so many people, to literally die for Sri Ram? जो वो मुलायम सिंह यादव वो हत्याकांड किया था ना. So they were willing to do that. They were willing to undergo death because Ram was beyond everything. You show me one other country where this has happened.
Nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to mind. Not only that, this restoration and reclaiming Sri Ram temple is unparalleled in world history.
Yes,
Show me one
exactly.
sacred monument anywhere from the dawn of human civilization, from the ancient period till 2024. Show me one country which has anything close to this story. What we are witnessing is an epoch. It is not, merely reclaiming a temple or something. It is an epoch, it is an era, and we are witnessing it live. A lot of
We are the
people
lucky ones.
we are
We
the
are the
lucky
lucky
ones.
ones.
We are the
Yeah.
lucky ones. So those who were, fighting for the restoration, they were not even sure that they would, see this Sri Ram Mandir being reconstructed in their own lifetime. But they did not give up. They were okay. They were okay with that. It doesn't matter if this doesn't happen in my own lifetime, but we are confident, we have faith that today or tomorrow, this will be a reality. So उन लोगों का बलिदान और त्याग, उसकी वजह से we are witnessing what we are witnessing.
And one more thing, sir. You mentioned the people who died in this process and who are willing to give up their life. Uh, I mean, unlike the Abrahamics, we don't have this calculation in our mind that we will do something and it will be rewarded in some afterlife or maybe in heaven or Jannat, whatsoever. So it wasn't a very calculated move. Matlab, people can also bring this term called crusades. Okay, people crusades were fight between two major religions, Christian, but it wasn't for their religion. It was for subjugating the other one, and it was for resources, and it was for other things to capture the lands primarily. So that cannot be compared with this one. This is pure
No.
devotion. This is pure
No.
spirituality. This is pure. This is pure love for the God, for the deity.
See, there is no concept called bhakti in the religions that you mentioned.
Yeah, totally.
वहां पे भक्ति का कोई नाम का चीज ही नहीं है. Why?
धर्म नहीं है सर.
जहां भक्ति होता है, कब भक्ति होता है? When there is unsullied love, when there are no strings attached to your love for God, your devotion for God, वहां पे भगवान से आपको डरने के अलावा कोई काम नहीं है. Because those gods are jealous gods. How can you love those such gods? You can only, worship them from a distance because you're always scared out of your wits. कि कल को क्या हो जाए, कयामत पे क्या हो जाएगा, judgment day, this kind of thing.
So, that is not love for heaven. That is pure fear from the hell. Fear.
It is fear which was given which was put in words and called as scripture. उतना ही है बस, और कुछ नहीं. You can't compare these. Now, when you want to reclaim, sacred sites, you don't, like I said, this fight is unparalleled. Where do you see, in which civilization do you see, the adherents of a faith? I'm just simplifying it.
Yeah.
Who have fought this war for so long? 500 years, that's half a millennium of the same people. So for all the jokers who claim, the stuff about, caste system and oppression and this kind of thing, कौन सा caste system ने रोका राम जन्मभूमि को? It was spontaneous. It was a spontaneous coming together of devotional energy of, almost 1 billion people in those days. Which caste stopped them? On the contrary, all caste consciousness disappeared in that yatra. आप कार सेवकों का जाति गिनते हो? नहीं ना? So,
बिल्कुल नहीं.
look at the levels on which this operates. So, तीर्थ यात्रा में हमारा धर्मशास्त्र के अनुसार there is no jati in tirtha kshetra when you're going on a tirtha yatra. So I mean, in a way, like I said, this is an epoch, and we have every right to celebrate it, and we should celebrate it with even more grandeur.
True. And when you mentioned, sir, कि it's been 500 years. 500 years तो इस बात के हुए कि जो ढांचा था वो बना वहां पर.
जी.
पर उस ढांचे के बनने से पहले भी तो हमले हुए होंगे ना मंदिर पर. People would have defended that.
They would have defended that, yeah.
I mean, this fight for the reclamation, yes, reclamation's fight is for 500 years, but to defend that, to let it remain the way it was, that must have been going for since forever.
Sorry, yeah, of course. But
And
by the time, Babur came to India, almost all of North India was pretty much under Muslim control.
yes,
So I'll give you one data point. Unlike South India, you do not find a single temple in North India which belongs to the classical age. Meaning, the classical age ended with the downfall of the Guptas. Or if you want to stretch that history a little more, the classical age ended with the invasion of Mahmud of Ghazni. So you don't have a single temple which predates the classical age in all of North India.
Including Rajasthan, UP, Bihar.
कहीं भी नहीं है.
Is that based on that? Is that correct? That Birla Temple in Delhi was the first one to be made of that height after 1,000 years.
I am not sure of that. I mean, I haven't studied, the details of Birla Mandir. It could be true.
I read it somewhere that उस height का पहला मंदिर था वो, उतनी height का in North India. Because आप जो कह रहे हैं कि उसके पहले किसी ने कोई मंदिर छोड़ा ही नहीं.
एक भी नहीं है. एक भी नहीं है. Lot of people might, be surprised when I say this. बुंदेलखंड में, खजुराहो में, it might be a famous temple now. Unfortunately, it has become only a tourist attraction. I have a big problem with, transforming these places as tourist attractions. They are not tourist attractions, sir. ये हमारा आस्था की विषय है. And they should be, treated as such. They should be viewed as. But anyway, we will digress. तो खजुराहो ग्रुप ऑफ टेम्पल्स, आज का जो टेम्पल कॉम्प्लेक्स हमको मिला है, वो सिर्फ अवशेष है. I mean, whatever is being preserved is preserved. But until the British came, when the British started, slowly exploring India, these temples were lost. They were covered with forests. And only, when they rediscovered it, they found this, stunning group of temples. And then they kind of, restored the whole place and made it accessible to people. So the Chandela dynasty was one of the most famous Sanatana dynasties to ever rule North India, at any rate. So for about 250 years, it was a great dynasty with which have given enormous contributions to our culture and society. Not too many people know this. But how is the Khajuraho temple depicted for the longest time? As sex tourism.
Yeah.
You go there to a mandir for, looking only at those sculptures and, आपका भाव क्या होगा उसके प्रति?
But the people who have visited there, they say it is much more than that. But sir, only in words. सिर्फ शब्दों में जो आप कह रहे हैं कि it hasn't presented like that. Only.
I have visited that 4-5 times. Whenever I go there, I make it a point to visit those temples. वो जो erotic sculpture जो है ना, श्रृंगार का जो मूर्तियां हैं, that is hardly 10% of the whole complex. Hardly
Sir,
10%.
even Kamsutra book is much
Mm.
more than what it is depicted as.
Kama Sutra
It
is
is a book about,
it is a book of a total way of life.
yeah.
जिसका आपका 4 पुरुषार्थ होता है, वो तीसरा पुरुषार्थ है काम. So काम के through you can achieve other purusharthas in a way of speaking.
Hmm.
Dharma is the highest, and I mean moksha is the highest, but let's not talk about that because it is
We will digress. Yes, we will digress.
sadhak
But since
logo.
you brought Bundelkhand, so there is
Hmm.
a temple in Bundelkhand in Orcha near Jhansi.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that temple is, of course, you know it. The temple belongs to Raja Ram.
Yes.
So Sri Ram is, मतलब his पूजा वगैरह जो भी होती है वो एज अ राजा होती है, तो बकायदा
Hmm.
सैनिक सैल्यूट एंड एवरीथिंग हैपेंस ओवर देयर एंड ब्यूटीफुल टेंपल on the banks of river. So of course again made by Bundelas, and
Hmm.
so everyone, मतलब कोई जाति हो कोई राजा हो, किसी ने बचाने में कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी. Everybody fought, and
Yes.
coming today as well, sir, I am seeing people walking towards
Hmm.
Ayodhya as on
Hmm.
today.
Yeah.
लखनऊ से हम ये रास्ता देखते हैं, लोग जो गोरखपुर से आ रहे हैं वो देख रहे हैं.
सर हमारे यहाँ पे हर एक मंदिर में, बैंगलोर में, and I'm sure it is true in all across the country, people have organized, they've put up gigantic LED screens, and they have organized live streaming of the Pran Pratishtha.
Wow.
Every single temple. And there have been, several groups, जो राम भक्तों का ग्रुप है, जो भी उनका नाम देते हैं, they have organized themselves, and at some point after the Pran Pratishtha, they will go on a Padayatra there, all the way to Ayodhya.
Wow.
Yeah.
From Bangalore.
Bangalore.
Oh my God.
I'm
मतलब
mentioning only Bangalore. I'm sure this is true for various cities and towns and villages across the country.
sir, we asked few people, prominent people in Ayodhya, belonging to the trust, कि of course निमंत्रण तो नहीं है हमें, पर ये कि हम कब दर्शन कर सकेंगे, तो कहा गया कि 26 तक तो सोचना भी मत. उसके बाद
Why does this happen? Because from the dawn of this civilization, 3 great unifiers have come to India. The first topping the list is Sri Ram. Think about it. You do not find a pan-India unifier before Ram. Think about it.
Totally.
Think about
Totally.
it. Give me one name, who existed, any great person before Sri Ram.
So much so that he is doing that today as well.
Today as well. So why did he acquire this power? दशावतार अगर हम देखेंगे तो उसमें आपको 2 ही ऐसे मानुष रूप का अवतार मिलेंगे, 3 मिलेगा, बट परशुराम, राम और भगवान श्री कृष्ण. ठीक है. सो परशुराम, he did not marry, he came here for a specific purpose. So उनको आप छोड़ के बाकी 2 अवतार आप देखिए, भगवान श्री राम और भगवान श्री कृष्ण. Among all our deities, हमारे सब देवी देवताओं का आप कथा जो भी है आप देखेंगे तो एक विशेषता आप पाएंगे इन 2 अवतारों में. एक भगवान राम और भगवान कृष्ण का बाल रूप भी होता है. अभी वहां पे क्या प्रतिष्ठा हुआ है? राम लल्ला का, बालक राम का. So you see Rama's Bala Leela and you see Krishna's Bala Leela described in great detail. You don't find this in any avatar. So why Manush रूप धारण करके इधर आए थे? So what does it symbolize? Why did Rama become such a great unifier? Even when you contrast it with Bhagwan Shri Krishna, you don't find this quality in Krishna. Why does this happen? Because he was conscious that he was a human. भगवान के आयुध देखिए, आप राम जी का आयुध देखिए, यू हैव बो एंड एरो, बस होता है। लेकिन भगवान श्री कृष्ण का सुदर्शन चक्र भी होता है। यू डोंट सी दैट। सो he was as human as you and I. And instead of, giving just lectures and things like that, he lived a great and extraordinary life devoted only to dharma. It came first and foremost beyond anything else in his life. This is why he became an aspiration for our entire culture and civilization for what? Minimum 7,000 years. हर एक गांव में, in the remote corners of India, even when I was growing up, I still remember कि they would point at some rock, they would point at some hillock, and they'd say with great conviction कि भगवान श्री राम ने यहाँ पे आके रुका था on his way to Lanka. So you will find 50, if there are some 8 lakh villages in India, every village has this sacred spot, and they claim with confidence कि यहाँ पे आया था. So what gives this? His life. He lived, he set an example. And it was so high that everybody wanted to emulate it. He has not spared anything, sir. We are talking, I just spoke about, places. So that is space, geography. You take art, you take literature, you take dance, drama. Tell me how many themes, you can't count. How many Ram Kathas are there across India in all Indian languages? Even in a foreign language like Urdu, you find Ram Katha.
And beyond boundaries as well, sir.
Beyond boundaries. In Far East, what used to be known as Far East, Southeast Asia. So why? Why is he such a great magnet? He was the original sculptor of Indian civilization, of Hindu civilization. And one of the greatest messages of Sri Ram, Ramayana, is that जो गलती माता पिता ने किया उसकी सजा इन्होंने भुगते. He did not scold Kaikeyi. He was not angry with Dashrath Maharaj. He said, ठीक है. He realized, his father's weakness and his mother's, stepmother's weakness. And what did he do? He said, ठीक है, I will make you realize your mistake by, voluntarily making a sacrifice. In the prime of your youth, you go for a 14-year exile in the forest. और वनवास का एक नियम होता है ब्रह्मचर्य. Even if you are married, you have to be a brahmachari. ब्रह्मचर्य का पालन करना चाहिए अगर आप वनवास जाते हो. So 14 years this happens. वनवास का असली मतलब ये होता है. And this was not the back then. So it was a very rugged and, very difficult terrain. And throughout that vanvas, he doesn't keep quiet. No? Everywhere he finds, something is wrong, or if he can help someone, he will volunteer. यहाँ गलत हो रहा है, ठीक है, मैं fix करता हूं. Why does he do that? So this is why, these are sublime elements that we have to imbibe. That is why our culture, our people, our society responded to his character so beautifully. When you're reclaiming the Sri Ram temple, you're reclaiming this entire legacy.
And saving it for the coming generations.
Yeah. Yes. This is what it ultimately means. He is the greatest unifier.
Wow, I mean, that's one of the most amazing perspectives again. Coming, just I remember my grandfather used to sing, and he used to create bhajans, and he used to sing. He was quite old, but he used to do that. So And of course, he was living in a village, and
Hmm.
that village was a village since eternity. So
Hmm.
people, when they had nothing,
Hmm.
the life was. And he also used to go to this bhajan mandali वगैरह. So he used to go and participate. It wasn't that कि and सब स्वेच्छा से, अपनी इच्छा से. So
Hmm.
and the most important thing कि this temple जो
Hmm.
आज बन रहा है,
Hmm.
how many people wished for this.
Hmm.
I have a friend, Mr. Ranjay, and he said one. We were doing a video. He said one thing. कि he's one of the extreme lucky ones who
Hmm.
saw the Ramlala under that
Canopy.
despicable
Hmm.
structure,
Yeah.
and
Take.
then he saw it in tent.
Hmm.
Then of course he saw it in when Yogi ji kept it in a
Hmm.
small temple that was a temporary temple, makeshift temple, and of course then we will be seeing matlab, all four.
Hmm.
So this is also a very amazing generation which will
Hmm.
see few people might have seen in. Acha, one
Hmm.
more thing, sir.
Hmm.
When for the first time मैंने टेंट में देखा जिस दिन.
Hmm.
Once upon a time, of course, I used to be a secular one,
Hmm.
maybe 2011-12, but I had my mind open. मतलब at least भगवान के करम से, माता पिता के आशीर्वाद से दिमाग थोड़ा खुला था, और जो दिख
Hmm.
रहा था वो सामने दिख रहा था.
Hmm.
जिस दिन मैंने पहली बार टेंट में देखा था सर, मैं 2 दिन तक आई डेंट नो व्हाट हैपेंड टू मी.
Yeah.
आई वाज
Hmm.
शेल शॉक्ड
Hmm.
एंड आई केम बैक एंड आई जस्ट डिडंट नो कि हुआ क्या है. आई कुडंट टेल एनीवन कि हुआ क्या है. इट वाज pathetic to watch that scene in the tent.
I've seen it.
I mean, the entire process of going through that caged and not having any permanent structure, or I cannot even put it to the words.
Sir, you had barbed wire fences
Yeah,
guarding, that.
totally.
तो
So,
वहां से तक का जो जर्नी है ना, it is
hmm,
nothing short of a phenomenon.
and the last time I saw, मतलब जब दर्शन किया मैंने लास्ट टाइम 5 मार्च 2020,
Hmm.
जस्ट लॉकडाउन से कुछ दिन पहले. तो दैट वाज द डेट जब लास्ट दर्शन होना था. तो
Hmm.
नरेंद्र कोहली जी, आई वाज मतलब फॉर्चुनेट टू अकम्पनी हिम,
Hmm.
नरेंद्र कोहली जी को की. एंड ही वो सर
Hmm.
उस टेंट के सामने साष्टांग लेट गए, दंडवत प्रणाम किया उन्होंने.
Hmm. Hmm.
सर
Hmm.
अभ्युदय लिखी, व्हाट एन अमेजिंग वे ऑफ कन्वेइंग रामायण इन हिंदी.
He is the last
राम
living
कथा.
legend of that caliber. हिंदी में.
टोटली,
Hmm.
टोटली. सो one more thing has happened, sir, with the and I would like to ask this question कि श्री राम मंदिर के बनने के साथ ही there's one
Hmm.
more body that has been formed, organization,
Hmm.
that is Sri Ram Janambhoomi Tirth Kshetra Nyas.
No, can you repeat that? Your voice got it was being.
The trust that
Hmm.
has been made,
Hmm. Hmm.
who will be, of course,
Hmm.
जो ट्रस्ट बना रहा है मंदिर और जो ट्रस्ट इसको मेंटेन करेगा,
Hmm.
सारा काम करेगा.
Hmm.
What do you see the importance of that trust, sir? Because of my bandwidth, मैंने अपना
Hmm.
कैमरा ऑफ किया हुआ है. और
Hmm.
कोई नहीं, मेरी बात अगर जा रही है तो मैं ये वो कह रहा था सर कि श्री राम जन्मभूमि जो तीर्थ क्षेत्र न्यास बना है, द ट्रस्ट दैट हैज बीन बिल्ट,
Hmm.
as you said ki there are a lot of many places in the entire India, because Sri Ram is visited the entire India.
Hmm.
So a lot more temples are required. Will
Hmm.
they be made? What is going to happen? What do you see
No,
with in future post this?
no, I can't. I mean, I have no knowledge what the trust intends to do. But if it intends to build more temples throughout the country, which is well and good,
Hmm,
engage in what are known as dharmic activities,
hmm, hmm,
which is well and good, But alongside, what it can also do is to revive the Hindu temple ecosystem.
hmm,
What too many people don't know, unfortunately, this knowledge we have lost, because the kind of destructions and invasions that we faced. But among one of the defining features of the Hindu civilization and the Hindu society was this the central role of the temples. Uh, for the longest time, I'll take an example. Let's say you want to build a new village from the scratch. So what was the layout of the village? What was mandatory for the village? The first thing that was mandatory was a temple. जो भी था, एक ग्राम देवता का एक टेम्पल होता था और दूसरा जो भी भगवान का टेम्पल होता था. So built around all its activities, the activities of the village had to kind of have a sanction of the temple. So you extrapolate this to a large city and see what happens. Temples were mini civilizations in a sense. They dispensed justice. They also acted as banks. They helped out in times of natural calamities like floods and things like that. They also played the role of courts. One living example of such a court is in Karnataka in Dharmasthala, where disputes are resolved by the chief of that temple, Manjunatha temple, Shiva temple. So this was a central role of temples in our civilization, around which the whole society was built. You look at many inscriptions and immediately you will know कि अगर कोई problem था, let's say there was a robbery in the village and the thief was caught, a mandatory punishment, apart from beating or putting in jail, whatever, one punishment was to give some kind of a penalty which would be deposited in the temple. So these are some when you read some of those inscriptions, you're deeply moved about the kind of humanity and the kind of devotion. आपका भक्ति का जो स्रोत है ना, that itself would accomplish many things. So आप सोचिए कि you are a thief and a thief is caught, and one of the punishment is to go every day to the temple every evening during the aarti time or whenever, and deep ka prajwalan karna hai. So a fixed amount of lamps this criminal had to light. Let's say 1000 lamps every evening. So jab ye karega, so imagine the inner transformation. If he does this for 2 months, imagine the inner transformation within the thief. So each time he goes there, every evening he goes there, he has to stand before the devta and then light it. आपका भाव क्या होगा?
सर what I'm feeling कि first thing first कि 2 महीने के लिए वो जो कर रहा था डेली बेसिस पे, वो उसी से अलग हो गया.
बिल्कुल. तो this was how when they say temple ecosystem and things like that, it involved everybody, the whole of the society. Traditionally, it is still in some places in South India. The practice is still there. As soon as the harvest is done, one part of that harvest, and the harvest should not be measured. आपका जो gross produce होता है ना, one part of that gross produce, before measuring it, should go to a temple or a mutt or some kind of a similar institution. Only after that it should be measured. And that harvest, that food grain, will go towards maintaining the welfare of the society. That's how free education would be provided to the whole community.
Sir, Shri Dharampal wrote about this.
It is there in inscriptions. So, amazing man, Dharampal ji, really. That's off. So, this is how, when you say rule of law, agar ye is feeling, such sublime feelings of devotion and things like bhakti and all that, if they become part of yourself, why do you even need law? Unless there is an extreme thing, which is always there in all societies. But sir, there is an order and harmony which is maintained just by doing these things in your daily life, making them part of your daily life, अपने आप समाज ये सब ठीक हो जाएगा. So if this, one of the things you can call it a suggestion or whatever, if these things can be kind of, remodeled, and that ecosystem could be revived in different ways by this temple trust, I think the next 5 or 6 generations are, pretty much solid.
I mean, the way you have put it, and that is why I asked this question from you.
Hmm.
You have a lot of ideas. I mean, you are also seeing the future in a very different way, and of course, the way you, of course, the work you have done on history. You saw ki what was happening out
Hmm.
there when these adharmic people were ruling.
Hmm.
So you have a idea, you have a sort of नो हाउ कि जब धार्मिक लोग रूल करेंगे तब
Hmm.
समाज क्या होगा. एंड ऑफ कोर्स
Hmm.
आपने उसका एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल ये दिया जो न्याय व्यवस्था की बात की.
Hmm.
और कंपेयर टू जुडिशियरी
Hmm.
दिस वर्क्स अ लॉट बेटर. इट
Yeah,
सॉल्व्स प्रॉब्लम्स.
absolutely. Absolutely, sir. These institutions we have got, no, Indian judiciary. These are colonial structures which were uh, established for a specific purpose by our oppressors. आपने धर्मपाल जी का ये उल्लेख किया. One of the things that Dharampal ji said beautifully way back in, I think, early 1960s or mid 1955 is that he said he was one of the great advocates for total decolonization, and part of the recommendation was to convert the जो पार्लियामेंट था ना, पुराना पार्लियामेंट था ना,
जी.
पार्लियामेंट और राष्ट्रपति भवन को, नॉट पार्लियामेंट, सॉरी, राष्ट्रपति भवन, he recommended that to be converted into a museum which would display the entire history of our freedom struggle and our colonial oppression. But इन लोगों ने कुछ अलग ही कर दिया.
सर पार्लियामेंट तो बनी नहीं. खैर
हाँ.
दैट विल बी अनदर टॉपिक फॉर मे बी अनदर डे. लॉट ऑफ हिस्ट्री आई वुड लाइक टू नो. मतलब today has been an enriching experience for me talking to you, and I would like to put up my camera. I was here all the time.
Okay.
So
तो
दर्शकों को भी बता दें. तो since almost थोड़ा time हो गया है, but there are conversations that people would love to know from you, and you have a lot to tell, I know for a fact. And Dharma Dispatch has done an amazing work. I'll put up a link of Dharma Dispatch. It's a online magazine. आप कह सकते हो, compilation of articles. A hell lot of amazing stuff is there on, as the name suggests, कि भारत पे, धर्म पे, हिस्ट्री पर, आइडियाज पर बहुत सारे अमेजिंग आर्टिकल्स हैं. एंड मैं दर्शकों को बोलूंगा प्लीज विजिट धर्मा डिस्पैच एंड इवन डाउनलोड द ऐप. सो संदीप सर, मतलब आई डोंट नो वेयर टू स्टॉप दिस कन्वर्सेशन, बट this is going, and this will go on, of course. I hope I can invite you again, and you can give some time again,
yes,
and
yes, yes,
you can enrich our audiences, Praarabdh's
yes.
audiences, and they will get to know मतलब बहुत अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव जो आप दे रहे हैं. और इट हैज टू कम फ्रॉम व्हाई. मेरा एक ये भी रीजन था कि जो हमारा साउथ ऑफ इंडिया है, वहाँ की बातें, वहाँ का माहौल, वहाँ की बात भी हमें जाननी जरूरी है, बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर ट्राइंग टू ड्राइव अ वेज. एंड फ्रॉम फर्स्ट हैंड अकाउंट, आपके माध्यम से हमें पता चले, हमारे माध्यम से आपके यहाँ के लोगों को पता चले कि देयर इज नो सच थिंग. इट्स जस्ट अ आई वॉश, कुछ नहीं है ऐसा. एंड इट इज द बॉन्ड. बॉन्ड क्या है, हम भाई, मतलब क्या ही कहें, कोई है ही नहीं, परिवार ही है सारा, सब एक है, उसमें डाउट ही नहीं. थ्रू आउट हिस्ट्री, कल्चर.
एक लास्ट एग्जांपल दे देता हूं बिफोर वी काइंड ऑफ कंक्लूड. ये नॉर्थ साउथ डिवाइड मे बी वी कैन टॉक इन डिटेल सम अदर डे. व्हेन द बृहदीश्वरा टेंपल वाज बिल्ट, राजा राजा चोला जिन्होंने बनाया वो भव्य मंदिर है तंजावुर में, बृहदीश्वरा टेंपल, he made sure that that temple would go on forever. I mean, every king who built or people who build these temples invariably have a certain certain verses, certain sentences before at the end of the inscription of the document, which says, which gives the details of how the temple was constructed, who constructed it, etc. One of the fond wishes of every temple builder was that ये मंदिर आचंद्रार्क रहेगा, meaning till this temple will stand till the sun and moon are there, मतलब it is eternal. So this was, ये भाव से वो बनाते थे. And so Rajaraja Chola, being the devout, he was a devout Shiva Bhakt. So अपने आप को राजराजा चोला नहीं बोलता था, अपने आप को शिवपाद शेखरा बोलता था, यानी जिनके सर पे शिवजी का पाद है, मैं वो हूं. So he made elaborate arrangements so that the pujas and other activities in the temples would be preserved intact even after his death. So one part of that was to bring in a lot of people from different professions and trades and artisans from different walks of life. From where? All the way from Madhya Pradesh. A group of Purohits or Dharmashastrakaras were imported from Madhya Pradesh. A group of instrumentalists were imported from Madhya Pradesh. So like that. So there is a link. You must read these documents. You must read history. Otherwise, these things you won't know. So when those people migrated here to Tanjavur, kaha Madhya Pradesh, kaha Tanjavur? So when they migrated, they migrated permanently. तो उनका वंशावली अगर आप ट्रेस करेंगे, लेट अस से एक वीणा का विद्वान वहां से आया है टू परफॉर्म ड्यूरिंग द आरती फॉर बृहदीश्वरा टेम्पल. तो फर्स्ट जनरेशन कम्स फ्रॉम मध्य प्रदेश, दे कम देयर परमानेंटली. उनका वंशावली अगर आप देखोगे, आज के उनका डिसेंडेंट्स फॉर एग्जांपल, दे विल बी क्लासिफाइड एज तमिलियंस. आज का जनरेशन ये क्या बोल रहे हो यार, नॉर्थ इंडिया, साउथ इंडिया. विल टेक द टॉपिक फॉर डिस्कशन different day, but this is one example how these things worked. Then there was Kunja Nambi Shetty. He was basically a guy from businessman from Kerala who stopped the war between two Hindu kings. एक था होयसला king, दूसरा था सेवना king, Yadava king in Devagiri. A Malayali businessman, effected a truce between these two Hindu kings. And his grandson, he became I think a Shaivite. He became a follower of Shiva, the grandson. After he died, because of his bhakti to the god, a Shiva temple was built. It is still there. It is called Kunjeshwara temple. It is about 3 hours distance from Bangalore. So how do you classify this grandson? He spoke Kannada. His grandfather was a businessman from Malayali businessman. And he mediated a truce between a Kannada empire, Kannada speaking empire, and a Maharashtrian empire. ये क्या north south क्या?
Sir, I just have to get one very small example. Went to Kashi, of course, darshan. The best dosa one can have is in Kashi on a thela near the mandir, because people from Tamil Nadu have been, and of course all of South, have been coming here for thousands of years, and all the signs are there still today in Varanasi, Kashi. And of course, I have heard Odia, Bangla, Marathi, Telugu, Tamil in Ayodhya itself last year. So let's not go there.
No, look at all the Tirth Kshetras in India. Tirupati, how many so-called Aryans, evil Aryans from North India, how many people have given permanent endowments? Kalahasti, Sri Shailam, Dharmasthala.
So all I can say, as you mentioned and you put it very rightly, Sri Ram has been the greatest unifier. He already unified, and that bond cannot be, मतलब no one even can put a slight dent on that. So
Sir, very simple, sir. There is no India without Sri Ram.
बात ही
That's
खत्म
it.
सर, बात
Okay.
खत्म हो गई, और इसी के साथ हम आज की बात भी खत्म करते हैं. Just on that note, thank you so much for giving us time, Sandeep sir. Most welcome on Prarabdh. And दर्शकों, आपको जो लोग पहली बार, आई नो कई लोग जानते भी होंगे, और जो लोग पहली बार संदीप बालकृष्णन सर को देख रहे हैं, आप इनके वीडियो सर्च करिए, धर्मा डिस्पैच को देखिए, पढ़िए, इनकी बुक्स देखिए, और आवरण जरूर पढ़िए. क्या अमेजिंग ट्रांसलेशन है, सर की किताब है 70 ईयर्स ऑफ सेकुलरिज्म, और जो भी किताबें मेंशन की गई हैं आप जरूर पढ़ें, और वीडियोस जरूर देखें. कमाल के वीडियोस हैं, बहुत सारा इतिहास, बहुत सारा ज्ञान है सर के पास. थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक यू अगेन, एंड आई होप आप अयोध्या आए, आपको निमंत्रण है हमारी तरफ से, आप भी आए यहाँ पर साथ में, एक ही जगह पर साथ में देखें. थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you. My pleasure. Namaste. All the
नमस्कार सर.
best.